admittedly questions that I have posed to myself at various points. I'm not going to do a music set. I'm just going to do what might be called spoken word. So it will involve listening, which I know some of you might be a wee bit too pished to do. Don't worry. I won't take it personally. And if you are at a loose end this week, do come and join me at the Fringe. My show's called Trauma Industrial Complex. It's a series of events discussing issues directly related to or adjacent to trauma discourse, people with lived experience, and exploring some of the themes around that. Anyway, who am I and why am I here? I'm still coughing up phlegm for the 90s. Still think I know it all like I was 19. Turn on the telly, there's big Harvey Weinstein about to recontextualise my life as a crime scene. Some people say I'm arrogant. Idiots, fuck them, man. Some people say I'm egotistical, and I understand. But with all the talent on constant display, all right, mate? I don't think I get enough credit for how humble I am. What do you mean lighten up? I couldn't be more chipper, hair clippers, wearing nothing but a pair of carpet slippers, staring in a spherical mirror at my convex figure, getting ready to tip the scales in a cement mixer. All these rappers, they forgot I'm dope, you pricks. Your favourite Scottish rapper's what arrives at the door when you order a Loki on Wish. My bird likes metaphors, but I'm just tossing walnuts for the hot tub of the Pornhub Reform Club. I'm so enamoured by my celebrity fans that I forget to stash 50% of my cash under my bed for my tax. I used to want to eat the rich. Now I'm in chinos at the Ritz, eating tortilla chips, leaving baristas theatre tips, aging poorer than comedy. Layman and commoner likes to spice up his panic attacks, blazing chronic, playing harmonica. To be honest, I'm sick of shit and will kill me and only making me stronger. Face facts. I lace tracks, I've got wains, I pay tax. I'm a adult rapper. Who wants to rain dance with giant haystacks? These rap cabaret acts about to get their brains mapped. I'm a adult rapper. You can join in. I'm a adult rapper. I think nostalgically back to when I rapped like a yank, melting plaster cast off in my hand so I could have a wank. Then in my teens the trauma hit me all at once like a tank, became so self-serious that I only had a laugh when I drank. Only can with a handful of tranks. The fact I'm sober doesn't stop me thinking every award that I'm handed's a prank. So who do I have to thank for being such a success? I'm anxious waiting less than 25 grand in the bank. Cut the psychiatrist office, she tries to analyse me. Don't mean to patronise you, but it seems that my central problem in life is I can't get enough of that which doesn't satisfy me. See you next week for some more massive irony. She says goodbye and grins away from me nervously, misremembers my name, and looks a little contemptuously. Navigating this service successfully, forget it. Some psychiatrists don't even see fit to commit you to memory. Beginning a sharp descent, I resent accepting things I can't change. I was raised to change the things I can't accept. Go home and step on the scales with breathless anticipation and somehow put on a kilo, sighing in resignation. So my show at the Fringe, which I'm obviously going to take the opportunity to plug here, is all about trauma. But the thing is with me, see, when it comes to trauma, truly healed people sicken me. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Their fucking nauseating sincerity. The way that they contort themselves like a flower trying to locate the sunlight to maintain their earnest eye contact. And the way that they exhibit such quiet confidence as they embrace life's uncertainties. An embrace which probably lasts about 3 or 4 seconds longer than I personally would find comfortable. Now, I know I'm talking about trauma with a certain level of irreverence, but actually anybody in here, and I assume many of you or most of you have, anybody who's experienced trauma will know that one of the ways we discharge trauma is through having a laugh about it. Obviously, mostly in appropriate contexts with the right kind of people. But there is humour and levity to be found in the darkness of our experiences. And so one of the questions that I like to ask with Trauma Industrial Complex is, if you go online just now or you go to a trauma event, it'll be a very serious event. It'll be very serious to the point where everybody's a wee bit worried about triggering someone. Everybody's a wee bit worried about upsetting people. And what that tells me is that the people with lived experience of trauma who are headlining these events aren't they actually running these events. Because if they were running them, they'd sound a wee bit more like this. Captain fucking Trauma here with the inappropriate jokes. My next song is called Toxic Traits. God save the Nepo baby. Seen the price of petrol lately? Long live the plebs who bend the knee to get their tongues round the heels of Kate's new stilettos daily. Speculate about Meghan's family. Gammon's out protesting May Day. Celebrate another SO payday. Hey! I guess I'm lazy. 10-minute tea break on a 12-hour shift. I confess I'm weary. Burnt latte, alfresco steak bakes. Church cafes now a food bank full of hungry nurses puffing 20 decks. Ashtrays ripped off the wall by a bin full of positive pregnancy tests. Mo's faces caked in war paint. Scrolling house porn, chain smoking fags by the entrances to the soft play. Nagging a man about the mortgage. He says she's irresponsible. She says he's bad at multitasking. He agrees for a quiet life while browsing Tinder with a sulky chagrin. Blue bag of shame. Try to walk it off. Hailing hackneys at the Rafe intersection on the hard shoulder while my drug dealers stage an intervention. A Great Depression. Mate, you flexing? Adjust your ego for inflation, lads. All your hairlines are in a great recession. More food banks and Mackie D's. Security tags on ham and cheese. Bouncers on the door of Scott mid-limit baby milk sales to packs of 3. Wild tech oligarchs are in a new space race to rule human centuries. And no politicians yet thought to charge these parasites upon re-entry. I think some people must be spending too much time in online spaces to think I wasn't going to circle back round and start getting in your plum faces. Touching bases. Forget your airs and graces. Want to know what triggers me? Fat cats skimming off the top who don't up the wages. I like to enter rooms in fitted suits like Global South extreme weather events and take annual leave to go wild swimming in rivers of excrement. My acumen is excellent. Arguments, I settle them. Activists, I unsettle them. They can't tell if I'm right or left of them. That's why I'm so careful when I question them, because they're sceptical of certain men. They deem unethical, but offending them isn't very hard when they're so sensitive to everything, except the person that they're censoring. No comprehension then how oppressive trends are expressed through them. Grew up on the margins of the edges hen, where women weren't feminine, nor were they scared of men. They ran the show, we were all scared of them. Why do you think Eminem was so influential then? Sodomizing lovers? Or did they also speak to adolescent men traumatized by their mothers? I think you might be spending a wee bit too much time in online spaces to think I wasn't going to circle back round and start getting in your plum faces. Touching bases. Forget your airs and graces. You want to know what triggers me? Fat cats skimming off the top who don't up the wages. The air is feeling so noxious. This food is devil concocted. These pills have knocked me unconscious. And you wonder why I'm so toxic? He's just a toxic kid. Oh my God, these optics. Bitch, just keep ticking those boxes. This is my comic strip and I'll talk my shit. Thank you. Trigger warning for any working class people in here. They're selling juice with bits at the bar. That's real fruit. So I know some of y'all appreciate a heads up. This next song, tonally, is a wee bit different. Not really any jokes in it, but I mean, Mugstock is a proper music festival, and so people come to it to see a diversity of tones and a diversity of experiences and perspectives. And that's why I've never been invited to play at Mugstock. I never wrote any of this, by the way. I'm just freestyling up here. I just decided to do spoken word like about 10 minutes before I came on because I can't be bothered plugging in. But when I got here, the stage manager thought I was a DJ, which was very difficult for my fragile ego to accept because I've sold this venue out myself 3 times. Now, I don't know if any of the other artists or indeed yourselves are afflicted by that thing called ego. But it's difficult coming for a sold-out show at the Fringe where you're rushed out the venue so people don't want selfies and walking into a place where the stage manager's just like that. Where's your fucking records, mate? How did I get like this? Why did I seek out special treatment so that I could petition myself off from just being among people? Why am I so introverted while constantly putting myself in the public spotlight? What the fuck's wrong with me? There's a part of me that's broken far beyond repair. You can sense it as you run your fingers through my hair, because people couldn't be trusted or depended upon. Well, deprivation's not a term, it's a terrible norm. It's gravely complicated, I fear. My old dear wasn't the type to ovulate in IKEA. But since you're asking, I remember it like yesterday. Drunken strangers linger in the room with vulgar things to say. Blood in the pan, spiders living in the litter tray. Deacon Blue singing about a ship called Dignity. In hindsight, that's where I learned how to kill the pain as they plunged those dirty needles deep into their veins. Wrecked sinuses, blood-borne viruses. Oh, to be the apple of Dionysus' irises. So I'm sorry if sometimes I seem angry or hateful. If this is privilege, I'll work on being more grateful. And they sneer when I talk about poverty. And they sneer when I talk about my Pollock days in the land of social justice, where you invite a cringe if you talk wrong or didn't own property. I speak the kind of truth that could turn a tide. If only they could shut their mouths the way they've shut their minds. But they tell me all's well, home of the brave. They don't want freedom. They just want a different colour chain. Huddled in a dark room, scared to talk, while he kicked the door in, screaming threats through the letterbox. One day she'd kick him out and swear she's no joking. Next day they're pumping with the bedroom doors open. One kid tied to a chair, another kicked across a flare, and I'm helpless to help even though I was there. When I'm triggered, thoughts occur, I'm in a daily rut. It happened so long ago, I wonder if I made it up. A terrapin floating lifeless in an old pan. Then she'd pour a dram. That's when I watch her mind wander like a dirty old man, stone cold hands. Her and death cheek to cheek in a slow dance. My old man raised us by himself and he'll never a drinker. Chronic stress will make a mess of a sensitive thinker. So I'm sorry if I fail to keep a straight face when you're at university claiming it's not a safe space. And they sneer when I talk about poverty, and they sneer when I talk about my Pollock days and the land of social justice, where you invite a cringe if you come from anywhere except Scotland, mate. I speak the kind of truth that could turn a tide. If only they could shut their mouths the way they've shut their minds. They tell me all's well, home of the brave. They don't want freedom, they just want a different colour chain. Can I just ask where all the journals, activists and poets that want to police my tone were back when I was hopeless? When the best I had to hope for was a handful of opiates. Try to find some direction, but my compass was cracked, my map was roadless, and my 5 doctors were disagreeing about the origin of my psychosis. I was high and jobless. You were off to university. I was homeless, begging doctors for a mental health diagnosis. And now, all you have to say about the way I choose to express how my life was atrocious is to be sanctimonious and lecture me on what's appropriate for me to appropriate. Ha! You fucking hacks are bogus, acting like your farts are odourless. Acrimonious. I came to strike the match that puts the fear of hell in every one of you soulless, namby-pamby utopians, a magnum opus igniting the average poet's darkest phobias. And they sneer when I talk about poverty. And they sneer when I talk about my Pollock days in the land of social justice, where you invite a cringe if you come from anywhere except Scotland, mate. I speak the kind of truth that could turn the tide. If only they could shut their mouths the way they shut their minds. They tell me all's well. Home of the brave. They don't want freedom. They just want a different colour chain. I love the fact that that door's been shut, which means you're all locked in here with me now. So that song's about a bunch of things, but it's also about how we can transmit trauma. Do you know what I mean? We've got our pain. Somebody's got to get it, and they're fucking getting it, aren't they? They're getting it. Not always well-chosen targets, to be fair. But here we are. It's a messy world. It's a messy time. And I like to contribute to the mess by not giving a fuck. Okay, 2 more things. I thought actually I've got a wee bit more time than I thought. Thanks, by the way, you're quite engaged. You've quietened right down. Why, I don't know, but I hope it's because you're captivated in some way, or just at least try to figure out, like, I've never seen a DJ do this before. I mean, what is this blend of tones and styles and crafts I'm watching right now? In hip-hop, which is my safe space to discharge aggression, we have a thing called battle rap. Now, that was a big pioneering innovation culturally in African-American communities in the 70s and 80s, where, you know, a lot of disputes or a build-up of tension would be resolved with rappers facing off against each other, basically in the same tradition as flighting, which is a Scottish tradition, where 2 drunk guys would stand up in a pub and just talk about pumping each other's maws, and whoever got the best response from the crowd was the top flighter, right? The best flighter in the school. So I want to do what's called a battle rap, which is very niche, right? Because it's me, really on the margins of UK music culture as a Scottish rapper, 40 years old, talking to similarly obscure, mostly figures that I imagine in my head, and trying to assert my dominance over this imaginary clutch of adversaries, right? So now with that context, I'm going to let you hear a battle rap, and you can tell me if you think it's good or no, right? And you tell me that without saying anything. I'm watching you all now. Okay? So it would go like this if I was battling somebody, right? My name drops are like A-bombs. Call in the reinforcements. Well, I shoot the breeze with the sort of brands that don't need endorsements. Pale skin peeling off like a speeding Porsche after completing courses of intravenous codeines in a rocking chair, not a people's closes. I don't want to get jagged by Pfizer, but I would lick hand sanitizer off the back of a fiver to get high and then lie to my cat advisor, because that's the kind of guy I'm at the anti-vaxxer freedom rally, harassing the Dalai Lama on an Apple camera. Asked him why he wears a mask. Can't hear his answer through my balaclava. You're all big fat liars. Is this satire? I heard scarier stories huddled round chip pan fires. I prefer to be gentle, observing that less crew that using resentment as jet fuel and conservative cesspools with direct rules perversely consensual. Scotch rapper, maw pumping, jaw clamper, waving a claw hammer at the entire Say Awards panel. Craving opiates, loathing my mates who are openly scoring. I'm at the Odeon snoring, trapped in a showing of Frozen, wearing age-appropriate clothing. This is some view. Mic check 1, 2. If this is what I must adjust to, show me who I need to run through. He'd turn when I come through. Sit down before I bust you. These are things I want to do. This is something I must do. Sending shots. What you up my mentions for? What you up for election for? What you dodging my question for? Sending shots. Ain't you heard that I'm tons of fun? You woke me out of my slumber, son. You're looking at number 1. No, I'm not the guy for Stanley Odd, bitch. I never made the long list. Too busy in a mosh pit signing your ma's tits. Good to see the kids with the ear defenders on. Smart but casual misogynist extracting my profits. Is that not what a boss does? Who's the Ross out of Scotland? Put up your hands if you want your boss kicked. Forget modelling a gangster image. I'm like your alleged violent history. In other words, mate, a giant mystery, a rabbit hole of psilocybin clickbait. Kids killing my vibes, no a minor mistake. 39 and I'm the piss take because I monitor my fibre intake. You're the one with a shite in the base of your violin case. Fuck trying to pull an actress when I could go home and pump a cactus. My wife loves that line. She loves it. My napper's a dirty mattress covered in beep encrusted fabrics. Handicaps haven't turned to assets. I'm still trying to plunge an abscess with this rusted lancet for part of my brain only drugs can access. This is some view, mic check 1, 2. If this is what I must adjust to, show me who I need to run through. He'd turn when I come through. Sit down before I bust you. These are things I want to do. These are things I must do. Somebody's probably told you. But in cultural terms, you're a random. It's just walked right into the back of my holiday selfie. Bro, mosey on. Shit's lit. Throw the propane on. Here's something you can totally quote me on. You hopping on a Loki song is like a Pokemon walking on a croquet lawn. It's nice, isn't it? When you think about what we actually do with words, rappers, it's nice. It's kind of musical, isn't it? I think so. I think so. Out in Carnaby flush, finding it hard to adjust. What's actually worse, when somebody dies or when part of them does? Philosophy. Feeding beads and an abacus into my utilitarian calculus. It's following up the philosophical reference there. Man of the people en route to the BAFTA sat on the back of the bus. Buzz. Having money, that's a mad buzz. Folk that love you don't ask for stuff. Folk that don't want so damn much scream Tory cunt, you get a tax cut. These rap mugs are like fat pugs with our rented briefs and our daft dugs. Oh, my news feed burning off my lugs like they've got a clue what having cash does. Academics sneering at my late night Twitter rants like I'm a snorefest. Shut it, you geek, in your uni, my books are a core text. Sore flex. Know your top 5, send your 4 best. Consider that floor swept. Forceps will pull you out your Gore-Tex. My long shadow darkens doorsteps. Catch me coughing in a smoker's shed, then drinking coffee before I go to bed in an opium den. You're making an odious threat. Let's hold a symposium then. Musos slagging Glasgow rap, paying 200 quid to sit pish out of plastic glass in the Barrowlands and Kangol hats, watching Arab strap. Fancy that? Thank you. And for rappers in the crowd, that's how you make battle rap entertaining for a general audience. How we doing for time? Okay. So if here you're feeling persecuted vocally, artists are drawing like government plans and executed locally. At the zenith of my powers, sniffing some powder, I'm the type who will give you some flowers, then sit there and rip you for hours. Final one's called Travelling Circus. Tonally a wee bit different. In my life, when I'm not in a DJ kind of space. I'm an author, broadcaster, musician, A lot of the things that I dreamed about when I was a wee guy came true, and then like a lot of people that happens to, I found lots of things to complain about within those amazing circumstances. And so, has this been live streamed? Fuck's sake. It's not being captured anywhere. I feel like I'm really cooking right now. I could have wrote something that wouldn't have been as good as this. Right, final thing's called Travelling Circus. All right, you've been great. Thanks for paying me some attention. This business is pure entrapment. You get rewarded for thinking only of your advancement. Schools are bad, parachute your kids into cooler catchments and stay out the blacklist with odd jobs you need to do with hatchets. Pinch yourself every now and then to check you're in Kansas, a carousel of never-ending loot, yet you can't afford an undue distraction. A travelling circus, working on some new attractions, pursuing status to which will form an insecure attachment. You see, what pays now supersedes all my truest passions. A new life where some old friends misconstrue my absence. This triggered hippocampus. It's a big hit on campus with the middle classes. Amygdalas into guerrilla tactics. A sleeping giant in the pit of Lazarus with paralysis. Drip as lit as Zippo gases. Strick on linen canvas, then ink with matches. Still use Satras, think it's glamorous. Twitter addicts think it's madness when I jump out of timeline swinging ratchets. I picked up these machismo habits as a kid, calling bingo for crypto-fascists. Wonder what my kids are going to tell their therapists about me. Was I gentle? Did I show up? Was it scary and shouty? Did I make a public virtue a life of doing selfless deeds to cover the fact that I resented putting others ahead of my selfish needs? The life of an author. Aye, you're right, I'm softer. I hope my next book bombs so I can show the whole world how dirty I fight when I'm cornered. No longer living a life of squalor, but for some that's got them mighty bothered. If money talks, my accountant knows me better than my wife and my sponsor. What can I say? I'm famous. Not famous enough for the stage manager, obviously. DJ Darren McGarvey in the house. What can I say? I'm famous. Chewing scenery on a daily basis. Sitting on a train, sometimes I feel like I'm Monet painting, being surveyed by estate agents. You're now purveying greatness. I'll show you where to aim your status. Bend over, splay your anus. That ought to modulate your cadence. In a dark room, I'm developing negatives, saying it's painless, but that is a claim as baseless as the fear I can't escape this creative stasis. Tripping in and out of situations, drifting in and out of simulation, head like a corner room king suite with 40 mood-like configurations. Cheers, guys. Take it easy.
Darren McGarvey. Fantastic.